It's time to look at some new Minecraft village seeds. We've got a great variety for you today, including some sulfur cave seeds for the latest update, some basic village seeds, some villages in beautiful locations, and much more. Maybe one of these will be the perfect seed for your new world, but there's only one way to find out if that's true, so let's go ahead and see these Minecraft seeds. With the Chaos Cubed update, we need to check out some sulfur cave seeds, but let's make it a bit more unique with a village mixed in. Just as a reminder, if you didn't know, I play on Java Edition. Seeds on Java Edition and Bedrock Edition have parity for terrain, but structure generation and locations are different. So just know you'll see the villages I show on Java Edition, but very likely not on Bedrock Edition. The village generates in some crazy looking savanna terrain alongside a mangrove swamp. And the huge sulfur crater cuts out a big section of terrain here. We get lots of those red and yellow blocks that come with the biome, some different sections of aquifers, and some village buildings scattered throughout the crater along with some farms. Definitely a really unique looking new piece of Minecraft terrain. If you've watched some of my videos, you'll know by now that I like to find villages and biomes they're not supposed to be in, and that often ends up being the Pale Garden biome. I just think it looks really cool seeing the buildings surrounded by the gray trees. Just looks really interesting when walking around here. Of course, the village needs the Meadow biome to actually generate, and there's only 3 buildings that truly generate in the Meadow, and 2 of those are right on the edge of the Pale Garden. The small meadow itself looks pretty cool surrounded by the Pale Garden too. And the ruined portal here near spawn also adds to how cool this seed is. I like the mountains nearby too. All around, just a really cool seed. Always fun finding villages in different biomes. In these village seeds videos, I like to show some basic seeds for each of the different village variants. Great for those that want just a simple village seed. Of course, we've got the plains one here. It's got 9 buildings. There's another village nearby and one in the distance over there. And the plains biome itself is pretty big for a great big base build. Doesn't get much more basic of a plains village than that. I found this pretty cool village island seed. It manages to fit 3 different biomes across a small island with a beach, plains, and stony shores. It's super isolated out here. At a full 32 render distance, the only piece of land I can see is that flat little island. And yeah, it's just really cool seeing the village across the entire island. Like, the villagers really used up almost all of the island. Always fun to find village islands. Seeds like this are probably my favorite type of snowy village seeds to find. The village on top of a frozen lake that's in like a little crater area with the elevated terrain around it. It all just looks really cool. I guess the only thing I would like more is if it had an igloo mixed in or something, but that's just being greedy at that point. When I'm seed searching, I usually find double village seeds with the village being the same variant, but I like seeds like this too with it being 2 different variants. Obviously, plains and savanna in this case. They just nearly connect here, would take no effort at all to connect them yourself. The Plains Village has 12 buildings, including a tannery and blacksmith, which both have loot. And the Savanna Village also has 12 buildings, if we're counting the stable as a building at least. So yeah, that's a double village seed. Now, it's time to look at a basic savanna village. We've got a pretty big and flat savanna biome around spawn. We get a pretty big village to go along with it. It's got about 19 buildings. If you're different than me and you like the orange acacia wood, well, this is a great option for you. I just think this village looks cool. There's really no other reason for me to share it. You get some of the village generating up here, and it continues down the hillside, and it ends up sitting right in front of a big cave opening, which leads to this really expansive cave. It's even pretty easy to get to a trial chamber. Yeah man, just looks cool. The spawn of this seed is like a cherry grove donut. It's a typical cherry grove circle seed, but it's pretty small, so that's just why it reminds me of a donut, I guess. As usual with these, we get the cherry grove forming a ring shape. This one has a little bit of savanna here too. And then you can look out and see a village down in the middle of the bowl. There's actually quite a few buildings in this village packed into the small area here, and one up on the cliff. We get some dripstone around here too. One of the villagers decided to live up on the cherry grove here. So yeah, one more cherry grove circle seed to go in my ever-growing collection of those. For some reason, I like to find Minecraft village seeds that only have one path. I don't really know why, I just think they look pretty cool. Like, the simplicity of them feels so different than how village paths are often a bit messy and all over the place. Now, technically, there are a couple of little offshoot paths on this one, but all of the houses and main features of the village are on the main path, so I'm counting it. Close enough to a one-path, straight-line village for me. A few villagers are living up near the sky in one tiny house. For whatever reason, they picked to live up on top of this area. It does look pretty cool though. But yeah, the village only consists of this well and this small house. We get the iron golem here, 4 villagers somehow living in the small house, and they managed to bring a cat and camel all the way up here too. It's a unique living situation for these guys for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at a basic snowy village here. Lots of that snowy plains village all around. Perfect for a great wintertime themed build. I've always liked what they did with these snowy style villages with the 3 different types of buildings. The different variety helps make it feel pretty cool. I don't look for a ton of snowy, cold biome seeds in general, but that's an option if you're looking for a snowy village seed. The village I spawned in this seed looks pretty cool. It's on its own little island that's completely surrounded by a river. Whenever I find these, I always mention it looking like a moat because I have no creativity to say it looks like anything else. But whatever you see it as, it is pretty cool. The village has a blacksmith, so you can grab some loot. And there's a bit of red sand on the island because there's a pretty big mesa near spawn. In the distance, you can see another village and some interesting terrain and a jungle too. But yeah, definitely a pretty cool looking spawn village. In place of a desert village, we're going with a desert temple village instead. Like with the snowy seeds, desert seeds are just something I don't do a ton of looking for. But I do always like finding desert temple villages at least. I mean, they obviously look like they're meant to be with each other, and this one has no confliction, so the temple just looks like it's built as a part of the village. Definitely looks pretty cool. I found this Taiga village island seed here. These are always some of my favorite seeds to find. I just really like Taiga villages, and of course I like island villages too. Taiga villages always just feel so lively and lived in with the different details and decorations in them. Add in 2 blacksmiths to this one, and some of the village floating in the ocean, plus the fact that this is so isolated, and this is just a fantastic option for a village island seed. Every time I make a new video, I also create a blog to go with it. It's a great place to easily copy the seed numbers and to see the coordinates for things I show in this video. Go ahead and check it out with the link in the description or pinned comment after seeing the final 10 seeds in this video. I found this pretty cool seed that has a village on top of a surface sulfur cave biome. Some of the buildings are just sitting on top of the sulfur water. It looks pretty cool. This small house is right next to an opening to the sulfur cave system, and we get a big ravine thing here that eventually leads down to a dripstone cave system. Of course, you'll also be able to find some geysers nearby if you want to check those out. Pretty cool seed if you're looking for some chaos cubed features. Alright, time to look at a basic Taiga village seed now. Of course, in an area with a bunch of different Taiga biomes, though I did find it so there's a pretty minimal amount of snowy Taiga. We get 13 buildings in this one, and it's pretty compact. Yeah, that's a Taiga village. The spawn of this seed has a little meadow bowl with 3 villages in it. The little meadow forming the donut shape is like a bare bones version of the cherry grove circles that are so popular. The middle area of the ring has a plains biome, and there's just one village that managed to go into the plains. It goes up the cliffside with a couple buildings on top of the meadow, and then down the outside cliffs of the meadow with the dripstone. The second village has some buildings on top of the meadow, and then it goes down the lower section of the meadow biome. And the third village has some buildings on top of the meadow too, and it goes down the meadow side with some dripstone here, and ends off down in the forest. So yeah, just thought that was a pretty interesting looking Minecraft seed. This is about as close to a true cherry grove village seed as you can get in Minecraft. The meadow that makes the village is so small that you really can't see where it is. The village really just looks like it's meant to be a part of the cherry grove biome, just all surrounded by those cherry blossoms. It's a really unique feeling when walking through the village. It just looks awesome. This seed has 4 villages at spawn. I spawned into the world in this one, has 8 buildings including a blacksmith. Into the west, you can find this village. It has 11 buildings. Into the west of that, you can find this village. This one is pretty big with 19 buildings, including 2 churches. And finally, to the east of that, we can find the 4th village. This one has 12 buildings. All of these generate in the big plains biome. So yeah, if you want a seed with multiple plains villages, give this one a try. Living out on this lake clearly did not work well for these villagers. It's just been left abandoned and overrun by zombies now. I spawned in the nearby plains biome, and walking into the village was super easy because it connects to the land. Lake villages are always one of my favorite types of villages to find. I really like how it looks floating on the water. The elevated meadow as a backdrop to this lake adds to how cool this area looks overall too. So even if this place didn't work out very well for these villagers, it still looks pretty awesome. I spawned into this world in a huge cave with a village house next to a mine shaft. You've got a chance to spawn up here, above ground. It's a pretty nice plains biome, and the village has 2 churches and 2 tanneries. There's also another village fairly close by too. Of course, then we've got that huge cave opening through the village. You've got a couple of places you could potentially spawn on, like this little floating spot with the well, and this little dripstone spot with a couple of houses. I mean, the cave down here is pretty big, and it all just looks awesome, especially with the mineshaft here. And of course, the village too. This island seed looks pretty cool. We get a mansion and village right next to each other, so of course we get the taiga and dark forest, but we also get these stony shores, beach, and a small section of birch forest. It's always pretty funny how small the village looks next to a mansion, and this one has a little cut in the terrain here, so the village well actually generates underground. As for the mansion, my favorite thing I found inside was a hidden attic room with 2 chests full of loot in the ceiling. Altogether, it's a pretty cool spawn island. The spawn of this seed has a pretty big mountain ring, and in the middle valley we get 2 villages. The mountain ring is made up of some frozen peaks, and the valley has a meadow and cherry grove. The cherry grove is where we can find the first village, as it sits right on the edge of it. It's got 12 buildings, including a mason's house and library. Then, across the meadow, we can find the other village. Some of it goes up the mountainside, and it has 2 churches and a blacksmith. Definitely a pretty cool place to spawn into a new world. This spawn continent island that I found is pretty great. It's got a great selection of biomes with some different climates. We've got some of the more moderate climates, like the plains and forest. Then we've got some colder biomes near the frozen ocean in the north, with the snowy taiga and snowy plains. And then we've got some of the warmer, but not hot biomes like the jungle and savanna. Right near spawn, we get a plains village on Java Edition. It's a pretty flat village stretching into a river. There's 3 other villages across the island, along with some other structures too, but I'll let you explore those for yourself. Truly tons of space here across the island for building, exploring, and whatever else you may want to do. I previously shared some great seeds for the Chaos Cubed update. Check it out with the video on screen now. And check out this video's mystery seed too that you can see on screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'm out of here. See ya.